Welcome back to the Crafty Carpenter, all my incredible do-it-yourselfers, where we talk about carpentry, the tools we use, and some tips and tricks along the way. Recently, someone was asking me about wall hangings. They wanted to hang some blinds over their windows. So I thought it might be helpful if you could see what's on the inside of the wall so that you could better understand how to hang your wall hangings. So we can see that around the window there is an abundance of wood. When framing around your window, it's always taken into consideration the load-bearing weight above the window. So your window is going to be thoroughly framed for strength. And I'm not going to go into all the names of the pieces, but if you look at the framing around the window, you can see that each side of the window is going to have at least 3 inches of wood. On top of the window, those are headers, and your header area is probably going to be a good 10 to 12 inches. So you can count on solid wood when you're trying to hang your wall hanging in that area. Now, if your wall hangings is going to be wider than your window, then you want to take into consideration that you may be hitting into a hollow area, which means you're hitting between the studs. And you can still hang curtains or blinds or whatever you're hanging on your wall. You can still hang them even if it's wider than the framing around the window by using anchors. And I will tell you a little bit about some anchors. Maybe I can throw up some pictures to show you what some anchors look like. Anchors are inserts that go into the wall to give a more solid, stronger support for the screw, and it helps to manage the weight. Your anchors are going to go by weight. There's a couple of different types of anchors that you can use. Some of them you can drill a hole and kind of just beat the anchor in, and then you put your screw in and they expand with the screw. The screw expands. And then there's an anchor, my favorite is toggle bolts, and I'm going to throw up a picture. That's a toggle bolt. So toggle bolts, you would drill a hole into your drywall, you fold the toggle bolt in and push it through, and then the toggle bolt will open on the inside of the wall. And then as you're tightening your screw, the toggle bolt tightens into the wall. I like those the best, especially if you're going to be hanging something heavy, because then the drywall is sandwiched between the screw and the butterfly part of the toggle bolt, and that to me gives you a lot of strength. By sandwiching in the drywall, it puts the weight of your wall hanging more on the drywall and less on just a screw. And then I also want to mention that if you're putting your screws into wood, use wood screws, and your screws should always go at least 3/4 of an inch into your wood, and then so you have to account for your drywall. So if you are putting something on the wall and you have that wood framing backing and you don't need anchors, your drywall is a 1/2 inch, and so you would want to get a screw that's at least, I would say, 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches. I think one of the most important things, if not the most important thing, when hanging things on your wall is to know what's inside your wall. Take into consideration if you see any outlets around, any signs that there may be plumbing. You can get a stud finder that has a scanner, and it's like a deep dive scanner, and it'll tell you what's behind your wall, because you really don't want to drill a hole and hit a pipe or an electrical line, because you don't want any bad accidents, or you're trying to hang a picture or curtains and you end up with a really expensive problem that now you have to address. And I guess one of the last things that I'm going to mention is that if you are drilling into wood, or if you're hanging on wood, take a drill, make a pilot hole first, because especially if it's a big screw, because you could have the tendency to split the wood, and you really don't want to start splitting your framework. One more thing I want to add: always make sure that your wall hangings are level. Because imagine you have 2 screws in a wall, and if it's out of level, meaning one side is lower than the other, even if it's just a little bit, over time you're putting pressure on the lower side, which is going to eventually make your screws loosen. So that's it. I'm going to show you how to get a measurement for your wall hanging, and all you're going to need is a tape measure, a string, a piece of tape, and a level. All right, let's get started. So let's say we want to make our curtains 4 inches past the door and 4 inches higher. We're going to take our combination square and set it on 4. We're going to make a little mark on the top of our combination square, and then we're going to turn it to the side and make a little mark this way. Now I'm going to take my torpedo level and put it on the line, and making sure that my bubble is exactly in the middle, and making sure that the torpedo line is past the mark on the side. I'm going to make another small mark. And now we're going to do the same thing, put our level on our vertical line and just make a little cross so those lines can intersect. And now we have our first point. So now that we have our point, we're going to draw a line or pull a line. Normally I would stick a little nail in the point, but I'm not going to hang any curtains and I don't want to put a hole in the wall. So we're going to use some tape and we're going to put our string. So just put your string on that line. So just make sure your line is really secured with your tape. Take your combination square, we're on the other side of the door now, make a little line. And then using my combination square, I'm gonna make a 4-inch mark on the side. And now taking my level, I'm going to make another little line right about there. And then using our level again, we're going to get our vertical line and cross that T. And there is your second point. Now we're going to pull our line through that line and past the door. So you're going to pull your line a little tight, and then you're going to take your level and barely touch your line. And it is level from one side to the other. If you need, you can keep your line up. So that you can have your line across your wall in case you need to hang something in the middle, then you have your level line. Well, thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did enjoy it, I would really love it if you would hit the like button and subscribe for more tips and tricks on carpentry. If you click in the description box below, you'll find a link to my school where you can get some free PDFs. And if you need to purchase any tools, you'll find a link below for that too.